Dude, did you know you can subscribe to onlywrestlers.com and keep in touch with your favorite wrestlers? The party never has to end.
One of a Kind with Rob Van Dam is recorded in front of a live studio audience.
This week's episode of One of a Kind with RVD is presented by Get Blitz, and you can get 15% off your order when you head to get-blitz.com and use promo code RVD. Get 15% off.
Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! Rob Van Dam! I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
What's up, everybody? This is Dominic DeAngelo. I'm one of a kind with RVD, and that right there is my degenerate brother, Mr. Marcus DeAngelo, host of The Snake Pit. We got a very special episode today. Marcus and I are collaborating since we're both in Las Vegas for WrestleMania weekend. And we're going to talk a little bit about our stories with Rob Van Dam, Jake the Snake Roberts, how we got into podcasting, how this kind of all came to be. This is actually going to be my 100th episode of One of a Kind. And Marcus, how many episodes are you doing, Jake, so far?
I believe that this is going to make 125, if I remember right, 125 episodes of The Snake Pit. And yeah, it's, Dominic and I originally were just going to do best of episodes each, where we kind of look back into the archives and splice some things together. But we thought, hey, look, we're here in Vegas for WrestleMania. We just got done spending a lot of time with Rob and Jake. And there's some things to talk about. So why wait? Let's go ahead and you and I talk about what we want to, right?
Well, do you want to start about the weekend itself, or do we want to talk about how we met these guys initially? How do you want to go about that?
Let's go ahead and start with how we met them initially. I think
Okay.
might be the way to go. Dom, why don't you go ahead with Rob?
Sure. So I used to work for WrestleZone.com, and I would get interviews. And Rob was promoting his Headstrong documentary, and there was media opportunities. So I got hooked up with Rob. The PR person gave me the phone number, and I literally interviewed Rob in back office of Whole Foods for like 20 minutes, and just over audio. And so I always kind of had his phone number. And but lo and behold, once in a while I would touch base if I was in Las Vegas, and he didn't know me from Sunday. He was friendly, and he would just I asked about the Mom Museum, all that kind of stuff. We'd keep in touch just lightly. He did not know who I was. Let me make that clear. And but so Marcus started doing his podcasting stuff and getting involved, and he ended up what he'll tell you about Jake and getting involved with that, and then getting involved with Ted DiBiase, the $1 Million Man. And then that kind of inspired me to be like, I would really want to do a podcast with a wrestler. I wonder who I could get. And I was like, well, I would love to get RVD, but I'm sure he gets asked all the time about doing a podcast. And I was like, what if I pitch it to him in a certain way? We keep it short. We talk about, don't focus so much on wrestling, but talk about whatever. So I made the pitch to him, and he was like, I'm intrigued. Let's talk. And so we talked. We started it up May 2023. So almost 2 years now coming up here for me and Rob. And it's been fun, a weekly thing ever since. And so, that's basically how it got started. And then we've had a lot of great stories, some great guests so far. One of my favorites is Tan Man. Sabu is always great to have on. We've had Fonzie on. We've had Rene Dupree. Trying to think who else we've had. We've had a lot of unique guests on there too. A lot of Joe Clark, who's doing the Sabu documentary, who I got to meet this weekend. He was filming things for Sabu. So really, it's been a lot of fun. Mike Chioda was another one. So, Marcus, why don't you tell them about how you got involved with Jake and everything like that?
Sure. Well, before I do go into my thing, I do have to say I think that your story is a good example for people out there. Like, shoot your shot.
Yeah.
It's not going to hurt. And you can establish relationships with wrestlers outside of these conventions and whatnot. There's ways to do it. I know it's not always easy, but certainly there are routes that you can take. Dominic is a great example of it. And, you just never know where it's going to lead.
I'll add this too. Have a game plan going in. Don't just be like, hey, I want to do a podcast and don't have anything planned out. Prepare a pitch. Know what you want. Know how to make it unique. And know that kind of tell this person too that, yeah, you might be a fan, but you're not a fanboy or anything to that effect, where you know the lineage, you can delineate where that all that is for you, and make sure that you treat them like a person. That's the other aspect of it all. Like, that's it. So many people are, you're going to talk to Mickey Mantle about baseball, probably the last thing he wants to talk about. You want to talk to RVD about pro wrestling, might not be the top number one thing he wants to talk about all the time. So kind of keep all that in mind too. And don't be afraid to do the hustle of all this stuff. Confidence is another key. You're not going to feel confident doing a lot of this stuff, but if you put yourself in front of the camera and just put it out there, that's a good way to just get things cooking and get you some experience of what you want to do, and just have a game plan overall, I would say. And that doesn't mean necessarily even doing a podcast with a wrestler, a game plan of what you want to do. So there you go.
Marty? I think that's a good way to put it, man. And also keep in mind that if you are going to start a podcast and you've never done one before, it is a lot of work. Mm-hmm. And really, you should be prepared if you want to run lean and mean, which you're going to have to when you start a podcast. You should understand basic video editing. You should have an understanding of Photoshop, and just do your research. Try to understand it. Figure out how to build a YouTube channel. God, there's YouTube videos about how to build a YouTube channel out there. Like, everything is at your disposal. It's just a matter of taking the time, understanding how much work you're going to have to put in, and committing yourself. That's really it. As far as how I met Jake, I was working for Conrad Thompson. He hired me in late 2021 as a social media guy, and so lo and behold, we have an event out in Dallas for WrestleMania 2022, and so I came along for that, and every day we were working at WrestleCon there, and I was in the Starbucks there at the hotel, and lo and behold, right in front of me in line is Jake Roberts. So I had worked on the social media for his podcast with DDP Snake Pit. And so I introduced myself, and I was like, "Hi, Jake. I'm Marcus DeAngelo. I work for Conrad, and I was doing social media for your podcast." And he was like, I need a social media guy. So he and I got to talking, became really friendly, exchanged numbers, and I started working for Jake. And over the course of that, I'm talking to Jake regularly, and he and I became buddies. And so fast forward, they're getting ready to sunset DDP Snake Pit, and Conrad asked me if I wanted to do it. And so I said, yeah, sure, I'll try to breathe some new life into it. Jake and I morphed it around, and it turned into just me and Jake. And now we're coming up on 3 years of having that podcast together. And spent a lot of time with Jake this weekend at WrestleCon. So it's kind of fun, full circle weekend for me, where it's, met him a few years ago, and now I'm back at WrestleCon, spending time with him and having dinner and, just having fun out here in Vegas.
Quick fun story too. Worst interview I've ever done was with Jake Roberts. This was like 2018, so way before Marcus started interacting with him and stuff like that. Can't remember what the occasion was. Oh, he's doing his live comedy shows at the time. And so it was there to promote that. Unfortunately, it was around the time that King Kong Bundy passed away. And I kind of led with that question. And so probably not my best interview choice at the time. Still learning the ropes a little bit at the time and dealing with nerves and all that malarkey. So I don't think it put Jake in the best state of mind with it, understandably so, because King Kong Bundy was a friend of his and he was dealing with some stuff. So yeah, it lasted like 12 minutes if I'm lucky. But yeah, no, Marcus does a really good job with Jake, and it's always good to interact with him too. And Jake's a good dude. So
yeah, strongly recommend that if you're ever going to go to a signing, go and introduce yourself to Jake. He loves hearing fan stories, so introduce yourself, talk to him, get a picture, get an autograph, because man, what a legend he is.
Absolutely. All right. How about this weekend? How was your interaction with Jake over the weekend? And how was it for him too?
It was great. Yeah, no, we had a really nice time spending time together and getting to catch up a little bit in person. I probably see him in person 3-4 times a year at the most, something like that. So yeah, it was cool. It was fun getting to spend time with him. We went out to Benihana at the Westgate, had dinner there, and I spent a lot of time with his wife Cheryl as well. She's such a lovely person and great to talk to. And yeah, it was just overall really, really nice experience getting to spend time with Jake and Cheryl, and it's they've become old friends.
Did some wrestlers come up and talk to Jake and stuff like that were kind of unexpected or anything like that at WrestleCon?
And you can actually see it. It's on Jake's social media right now. At one point, Tully Blanchard came up to say hi to Arn and Ted DiBiase and those guys. And so Tully brought his daughter, Tessa, up, and they all came by and said hi to everybody. And there's a great photo on Jake's social media right now where he's standing with it's Jake, Arn Anderson, Ted DiBiase, Tully Blanchard, Tessa, and Brock Anderson. So really, really cool photo. A lot of legendary folks, and the future of the Four Horsemen, kind of, if you will, and Tessa and Brock. So yeah, it was a really cool moment.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, as far as Rob, he was also at WrestleCon, and his line was pretty darn good most of the time and stuff like that. He was on a different floor than Jake and them. So he was diagonal from Kevin Nash, who I also worked with on the Click This podcast. And then Sabu was right by him as well. Rhino was there too. And yeah, it was overall, I thought the WrestleCon was pretty well structured. I do have some criticisms, I think, when it comes to how they lay it out a little bit. I would like to see them. I almost want to suggest this to them, where they kind of, Arn was upstairs.
Yes.
And so I would think, like, maybe the next day move him downstairs, and like so he's where a heavily trafficked area is, because it's like a lot of these wrestlers miss out on opportunities just simply because where their table's placed.
Yep.
And I think that would help a lot of the talent out. And this could be legendary talent like that people want to see and meet. Like, Arn's got cool merchandise. He's Arn. That's another aspect of it all. And it's just like, to get the traffic where they are, they're major talents, but still, if they're out of sight, they're kind of out of mind, because there's so many talents there in general.
Yep.
So I think I am legitimately going to send them an email and say, like, hey, I have a suggestion.
Yeah.
To kind of
to put all these guys in one room, it's because you never know. It's like when fans kind of walk into the first main room, some of them might think, A, that this is it, and B, they might spend all their money. They're excited and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah.
Like, by the time they realize that Jake is upstairs or Arn is upstairs, they might be like, man, I have to hit an ATM, or I spent all the money I allotted for this. And I really want to meet these guys.
Yeah, that just seems like a simple solution. Like, even if you have to rotate a couple of days, like, hey, Arn, you're going to be here on Friday down on the main floor, and then Saturday you'll be upstairs with these guys, or something to that effect, just to make it easier for these guys.
Sounds like we solved this whole thing.
Got it all solved out. Trying to think, Marcus. Yeah, we had quite the weekend though for WrestleMania. How about GCW? Joey Janela Spring Break.
Oh man, so yeah, we were there live to watch Sabu take some of the craziest bumps I've ever seen anybody take, let alone a 60-year-old man.
Yes.
But it was fun, man. We had a blast. We were up in the VIP box. We were fortunate enough to get in there with the likes of Medusa, Britt Baker, Willow Nightingale, a number of other folks. Man, it was just like, it was a really fun experience. And GCW, they put on a really fun, but sometimes very violent show.
Absolutely. Like, oh man, my goodness. I have to say, it's my first ever GCW show that I've actually attended live. And so the presentation of it all, I thought was really good.
Yes.
Like, we were talking about Atticus Cougar.
Yeah.
And the video package that he did for him.
It's Cougar.
Cougar, thank you.
Yeah, not Cougar.
Cougar. But
what was the noise? Yeah, good.
But I think that something like that made it a very different, more edgy kind of vibe that is really enticing to wrestling fans. But I also think, too, what you were saying, the violence, that certainly has a ceiling to it when it comes to everything.
Thing is, and I don't know, I talked to guys like Jake and Ted and Hacksaw, so like some of the old school stuff is really programmed in my brain, but like when you get blood on the second match on the card, and then you get blood on the 4th, 5th, 8th, it's kind of just like, it really kind of loses its meaning, if everybody's getting color, kind of nobody got color, so that would be probably the only thing is like, I don't know, I know everybody wants to have a banger and have the best possible match that they can have and steal the show and all those platitudes, but when it boils down to it, you have to do what's right for the show, I think, more often than you try to do what's right for yourself.
And
that's my opinion.
All that being said, too, when you go to a GCW show, you basically expect a lot of that anyways. So, I mean, there is that you can kind of push back on and be like, well, there's people know what they're getting when they go to a Game Changer wrestling show. But let's go talk about the Sabu match just a little bit. And how it was presented, the atmosphere that was set up for it, and then they had some really pleasant surprises that I didn't even know were coming at that point. So so obviously Joey Janela, Sabu, they built this throughout the whole evening too. They did video packages of Joey Janela cutting promos about it all, hearing about Sabu, and him and Sabu come out. Sabu's dressed in a suit with the chic headdress on and stuff like that, and like there we go. It was off to it, and like the barbed wire ropes were just insane. I thought a lot of the crazy bumps. Everybody's probably, if you're a big time wrestling fan, you'll probably have seen the clip of Sabu falling through the barbed wire onto the table, through the table or the door, the barbed wire through the door, and then he just
bed outside
crashed right on the door though there. But I tell you what, like that, if you take all the matches over the weekend, like, I mean, personally, like biased a little bit because I like Sabu so much, and Fonzie was involved too. That was probably my match of the weekend.
Yeah.
Because of what it was about. And then Sandman showed up too in the crowd, and wow, the crowd went crazy for that as well.
Yep.
But I thought very effective, like good send off for Sabu, where that's the kind of style he was doing. He's doing at 60 years old, and it was pretty fun. Do you have any other thoughts on it?
Yeah, I mean, I have a feeling it's not going to be the last we see of Sabu, but man, it was something fun, and just seeing him kind of turn back the hands of time a little bit, build up a match, tell a really fun story, and Joe, you could see the passion in Joey Janela that whole time.
Oh, totally,
very passionate, very, very tuned in, geared up. And Joey's gone on record as saying that he could write a book about the day that he had that day leading up to that. And that's honestly,
absolutely.
After watching that match, it's a book I would like to read.
Yeah,
to hear the story behind all of it.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Who else stood out to you throughout this weekend that maybe caught your eye that wasn't on your radar necessarily?
I really liked. We mentioned Atticus Kogar. I thought that I find him unique. So I think that he definitely stood out. Obviously, the Sabu and Joey Janela thing kind of stole the show. Sorry, we'll have to cut that part out.
No, we don't.
Oh, we don't? Oh, okay. Well, another performer that really stood out to me is we went to GCW the following night, and I really liked Becca. I like her gimmick. I like that she comes out singing. She got really good heat. So yeah, that was one that definitely stood out.
Becca, I worked with her a little bit in MLW. She was there for a little bit, and she had that gimmick too, and she got big time heat because of that stuff.
I mean, what people hate on it, and I've heard plenty of people say, I won't name any names. I heard plenty of people say like I didn't like her music.
You're not supposed to
stop doing that. Exactly. If she annoyed you, she did her job. And so I liked her right out of the gate. I think that she's got some really big stars.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Trying to think who else stood out to me. Hey, I liked the match or the story that was told, I guess, between Fuego del Sol and Atticus Kogar.
Yeah.
I thought that was fun and kind of like felt important. The stakes felt really high.
Yes, absolutely. The finish was they used a taser.
I don't know about that. Not my cup of tea necessarily, but I did like the story.
It was a little off for me.
Yeah.
But still, it's still a good story and a good way to build it up. You could kind of feel the tension between the two of them, and that's what you want. You want to be able to feel that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, no, it was a fun match, fun event, 2 fun nights of GCW.
Yeah, and plus, hey, Fonzie took a big bump, big time bump that I did not expect.
From Kogar.
Yeah. He got Death Valley Driver through a table in the corner.
Yeah, it was good shit.
Fonzie got a bit of a scar, but he's okay, Daddy.
He's all right, Daddy.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's talk a little bit about Mania.
Well, hey, before we do, I do want to mention that you and I are here with our brother Luke. He's the one. He drove myself and a buddy of mine from. We flew into San Diego, and then we flew from San Diego to Las Vegas. So shout out to Luke. But also we're here with our friend who's from IWC with us, where we work. I work as a wrestler. Dominic works as an announcer. Canaan Kristopher, upcoming professional wrestler on the indie scene, and he's one of my good friends. And actually, Canaan, he's right here producing us for today.
Scoot on over. Yeah, we'll get your thoughts too on Mania. Since me and you were the big time watchers of
Canaan Kristopher. Here, wait. Should I hold my mic out for him, Dom?
Oh, yeah, that's probably a good point. Here, yeah. Do it like interview style there.
Yeah, there he is, Canaan Kristopher. All right, get out of here. I'm just
kidding. No.
Come here.
Keep you in.
So yeah, Canaan. First of all, how was your WrestleMania experience out here this weekend in Las Vegas?
It was a blast. Kind of learning experience. Kind of opportunity to connect with not only big names in the business, but just some of the local talent around different cities, and able to get your name and your face in front of any promoter is just a special opportunity.
We didn't even mention the West Coast Pro Show.
That was coming up here soon. For me.
Yeah. Why don't we talk about that and like kind of the interaction we had with some people and what you kind of learned just throughout your whole experience this weekend too?
I've learned that there is more talent worldwide than what people think, and there's a lot of special talent out there. Yeah, we did get to watch. It was a really fun show. A lot of great guys, a lot of good names, and a lot of really good wrestling. So I learned that, like, you have to enjoy the little moments in everything, and also lean into what you believe is best for the business. And I think that show really pulled off a great show.
Marcus, do you want to follow up?
Yeah, I was there with Canaan for the duration of the show, and really, really well done. If you're ever going to go out and see independent wrestling, that's a really good example of a show that you're going to want to see. West Coast Pro, our buddy from IWC, Jason Orion, he's out there helping to put on the show and does an amazing job.
Yep.
Just a great mind of professional wrestling. Very fortunate to have access to him the way that we do. And his knowledge shows, and his fingerprints show on that program. But there are a lot of people there that make it really successful. So go out of your way to check out West Coast Pro, whether it's in person or online, because man, what a great show they put on.
Let's talk about it too. Like the WID program is kind of all over the grid here when it comes to WrestleMania weekend, and Gabe Sapolsky's out and about, kind of things like that. How do you think, Canaan being in IWC and everything, and knowing that there's some WID tags and talent that work and rotate on through? Sam Hardway Holloway's one of them. We have obviously Sean Legacy showed up. We've had Jack Cartwheel,
Marcus Mathers. Yeah.
Oh, Marcus, I thought you were putting yourself over.
Me, I got it.
Yeah. No. But talk about how cool that's kind of been, that incorporation of it all, and what's it kind of mean to you too, being wanting to be a part of that and trying to elevate yourself even more.
Yeah, I think, as a wrestler, I think everybody should want to be a part of that. I think everybody should be fighting for that position. But it's great. It's great to watch these guys who you see every day work so hard for what they want. I know Sam Holloway. I know Marcus Mathers. And I know those guys personally. I've been on a few shows with those guys. Man, and the reason they're ID'd is because of how hard they work. Because they give everything up to be in the position that they are. They're not afraid to make the sacrifices that you need to make, and it really shows when they're out in the ring. They tell great stories. Their emotion is amazing, and their talent is undeniable. So yeah, 100%. I love watching those guys, and I love being around those guys. They're really good dudes.
And as somebody who's also been around them and now have spent time in the ring and have the context of that, getting kind of see it from both ways as a fan and also as a wrestler. It's like, as I learn and grow and aspire to get better in wrestling, it's cool to see guys like that who have put in the work and have a few years under their belt and have learned some of the tricks of the trade to improve themselves. Because it's like, as a wrestler, you should really kind of be attempting to take a little piece from a lot of the people that you're around.
Yeah.
Big things, small things, hopefully nothing too big. You don't want to steal anybody's gimmick. But just being able to kind of pick and choose the stuff that makes them other folks around special and incorporate it into your game. It's just, man, it's a fascinating process, and I just couldn't be more happy for those guys. Interested to see what their futures hold.
Have better sex with Blue Chew. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for better sex. And starting now, Blue Chew is offering a combo so strong it'll knock your socks off and your neighbor's socks off. Bam! You'll have to move towns with the amount of noise you'll be making. Blue Chew Max has arrived, and it combines the active ingredients of Viagra and Cialis into one chewable tablet. This combo acts fast and lasts. Guys, be ready when she needs it, and get your first month of Blue Chew free. Great sex is a few clicks away. Sign up at bluechew.com. Consult with one of their licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. Blue Chew tablets are made in the US of A and prepared and shipped directly to your door. The best part, it's all done online. That means no visits to the doctor's office, no awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. Make life easier by getting harder and discover your options at BlueChew.com. We've got a special deal for our listeners. Try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use promo code RUMOR. Just pay $5 shipping. That's promo code RUMOR. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the podcast.
Well, earlier in the day, we were talking a little bit about the aspect, too, of not being afraid to learn from all different types of people, no matter what their age or their experiences or anything like that. And I think if you're an aspiring wrestler, it's very important to learn, take from the old school of things, because what's old is new again. But then on top of it, to take something from a younger talent that maybe has gone to NXT or that has had its seminars or experience from that maybe an older talent that's been out of the business for a while has no experience or current knowledge of. So you got to be a little fearless in that kind of self. And at the same time, you want to keep the balance of promoting yourself, I guess, too, in the same right. So it's a very fascinating time to be in the business. And it's kind of neat that WWE's casting a wider net with this WID program. And like, hey, we're here too. We're well aware. And they're blurring the lines when it comes to independent promotions and WWE. So
Fun time to be involved in wrestling.
Yeah, it's definitely probably the best time to be involved because everybody has an opportunity now.
yeah, absolutely. All right, let's talk a little bit about Mania. What were your big takeaways, Canaan, from night one?
My big
I'm sorry.
my big takeaways from night one. I thought, a lot of the matches going into the Mania, some of them they didn't have a long time to tell their story. But for those ones specifically, I thought they went in there, they killed it, and they told the best story that they possibly could. I don't think there was a bad match on this Mania, despite what a lot of the media is saying. If you really go back in a few years and watch this, I think you will actually respect the work that these guys put in to make the Mania what it is.
That's a great point. I didn't even think about that. Like, I was thinking, like, overall, I thought, like, this Mania was good, but it felt like it was kind of still missing something in certain ways to me personally. But at the same time, I think you're right. I don't think there was a bad match on it at all.
Right.
So, what, anybody in particular stand out to you? What match was your favorite on night one?
Ooh. Trying to think of the matches on night one.
I know. I should have the card up here.
Obviously, the main event.
Mm-hmm.
The main event for night one was special. With Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Seth Rollins. The way they were able to, their abilities in the ring. The way that they were able to tell their story, to put over the storyline, and big props to Paul Heyman being a big part of that match. And that's something I feel like all wrestlers can learn from, because he's not a wrestler. He didn't take a bump, but he's told a story. And without him, that match wouldn't have been as big as what it was.
No, the story element came into huge play on that. And I think that, like, obviously that's a one that stands out in your mind first and foremost because of the story itself and the people involved. I thought how they promoted Punk at the beginning with his old music, Kill Switch Engage, and like the old footage of him and stuff like that early in WWE.
Yeah.
And then him coming out, I thought, was with Two in Living Color live playing the band. Like, it was good stuff and really added to the stakes. And it'll be interesting to see. At this point, many people will watch Raw and see what the next step is in the story. But yeah, I thought that was really good stuff.
Paul Heyman is a good example of why the stuff that you do outside of the moves is what's really important in professional wrestling. The moves are cool, and obviously a lot of people like to see the big high spots and stuff like that. But when it really boils down to it, this is a business about telling stories. And if you can tell a good one, you don't necessarily need to do anything too crazy out there.
I think another match that really stood out was the Gunther and Jey Uso match.
Yeah, explain. You told a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I thought Jey Uso really showed that he's not one dimensional. He can wrestle anybody, and I actually thought that was probably one of his best, if not his best, singles match he's had. I thought he really showed up and showed out, and I do think he deserves the championship that he's holding.
Well, another name that really was dog-eared, I think, for that show was Jacob Fatu, defeating LA Knight and becoming United States champion. Man, what a talent. I've got to interact with him a couple times throughout Major League Wrestling and stuff like that. And you can tell the star power in somebody like that and knows what he's doing.
And the chemistry they had in the ring was just top notch. You can't pull off some of the things that they do if they're just not on the same page the whole time.
Real quick, too, Canaan, is there a name in WWE that you take note of that you're like, wow, something of a talent that they're not known for, but you've definitely taken note of as like kind of a student of the game? Is there somebody that's like, wow, that like this is something that they really excel at, they don't get enough credit for?
Oh, there's a lot of guys that I feel like, they might not get some of the big opportunities, but their time is eventually going to come. One of those names is Joaquin Wild.
Oh.
Also an IWC guy, but if you just watch it, you could tell he is unbelievable in some of the things that he does. And it's very rare that you see some of what he does in the ring that anybody else can do. So I think he's one of the names that you need to pay attention to. That's going to eventually end up popping off here soon.
All right.
I've got to go with Jacob Fatu, by the way, when it comes to that night one. Man, just superstar written all over him. The match was really engaging. The story that they tell, just building him up to be the kind of killer that he is. Man, you've got like a future Umaga with maybe an even higher ceiling.
Real quick before we move to night two, what did you guys think of Tiffany and Charlotte?
I didn't hate the match. I thought they did well. There was a few things here and there that I think could have been better, but at the same time, I'm no guru of wrestling. I watching it as a fan, I actually really enjoyed it. And the hype around Tiffany Stratton right now is undeniable. When she makes her entrance, you could tell everybody loves her. And so whether she had the best match of the night or the worst match of the night, the crowd, which is the most important, still enjoyed it.
I think an aspect of it, too, that they threw in there was Charlotte kind of giving her a little bit of respect through body language at the end of the match. So I think they can kind of ride that, a little bit of momentum on that. Whereas, Charlotte's gotten so much heat throughout this whole program that you don't know, it was like you got to just commit to the heel here with her and stuff like that and just ride that. But it'll be interesting to see what they do coming up here on Friday with those two.
I love the aggression. It's kind of life imitates art, and I thought that the whole thing was really good. Told a good story, and according to Ric Flair, is the best match of the night.
How about that? All right, night two. Something that why don't we let's go talk about the opener. Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley. Canaan, what did you like about that match?
In my opinion, probably the best match of WrestleMania.
Wow.
Going back to think about it, those girls put in, they showed up and showed out. Everything that they did made a lot of sense. And they killed it. They looked like they wanted to hurt each other the entire time. The ending of the match specifically was it was awesome. They were in perfect position, and Io Sky, she was a big star before, but I think now she's a mega star.
Right, and she was the forgotten third wheel of this, even though she was the champion. So I think they're telling a good story with that. Hey, what's next for Bianca, and what's next for Rhea after all this? And yeah, Io's kind of proved herself now. So yeah, nice way to open the show, I think, too. And Marcus, any thoughts on that one?
Oh no, I echo his thoughts. I thought it was phenomenal. I have a different match of the night, but we'll get there.
Oh yeah, we'll get there.
A lot of talent in that ring.
Mm-hmm. One of my favorite matches of the night and of the weekend for WrestleMania was Drew McIntyre defeating Damian Priest in the Sin City Street fight. These guys didn't have a whole lot of time to work a real solid program. I thought they made do with what they could. And I thought this match really delivered and kind of furthered the point how good Drew McIntyre is, I really think.
Oh yeah, 100%. I'm a big Drew McIntyre fan. I love his work. So I think sometimes he gets overshadowed and overlooked. But I think him and Priest had phenomenal chemistry, and I thought everything they did was great.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love the spot, and I was kind of torn. I was like, I don't know who they're gonna pick to win this. And I predicted Damian because I was like, he's the babyface, and you kind of got to keep him hot in certain ways. But I think all will be okay when it's all said and done with both of them. And I think they're gearing Drew up for maybe a world title program with Jimmy or with Jay or somebody too at this point.
I thought that the setup for the finish was really great because they had set up the tables on the outside and then they moved away from it and they did a lot of other things. And you almost kind of forgot about him.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Damian climbs to the top rope to do his spot, gets shoved out, bam, through the two tables. And that's how we get into the finish with the eventual Claymore into the chair in the corner. And just really well set up. And yeah, it's good tension and drama building in that match. That was, I've still got a different match of the night, but that one was close for me.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. My match of the night was the next one, Dominic Mysterio defeating Braun Breaker, Finn Balor, and Penta for the Intercontinental Championship. Really, really fun story. I thought the interaction between all these guys were pretty seamless, and the finish was beautiful. With it, how they orchestrated it all, and then Dom just immediate babyface now. There's a fine line between love and hate, and I think Dom Mysterio epitomizes that.
Yeah, I think so. I do believe that WWE is going to continue trying to lean into Dom being a heel, but at this point, I think it's going to be hard.
It's going to be hard.
I think they're going to eventually turn him babyface, but like you said, I mean, man, talk about guys working hard to get what they deserve. Man, that kid, he's amazing. He's awesome.
Well, John Cena said it today during Pat McAfee. He's like, Dom gets it, and he's like, he knows who he is, and he's just really, really good at everything. Yeah. And so if you get the hat tip from John Cena about what you're doing already in the business, I mean, obviously he's got the pedigree for it, but he's his own entity. He's completely different from Ray, and it's really remarkable, I think, in that regard too.
Being able to set yourself apart from your very, very famous father is just it's a tall order. But you're right. He's made himself a completely different character, and I've always really liked Dom. You and I saw him. I think it was at a SmackDown in Pittsburgh at one point.
Yes,
it was a 6-man tag team match. Dominic was not in the ring. He was on the apron, and he was getting more heat than anybody. Just standing there.
Mm-hmm. And he's working the crowd.
Him. Yeah, he's working the crowd. And it's like, okay, if he can just stand there and get that kind of heat, they need to strap a rocket ship to him as a heel. It seems like they are, but to you guys' point, it's looking like, again, there's this thin line between love and hate, and people are starting to come the other way.
And I think he's a solid worker.
Yes.
Even from the time that he debuted, you watched him progress all the way up to where he's confident in the ring. He's confident in his ability. He knows exactly where to be, when to sell, what move. He's really, really good.
Absolutely, yeah.
He's a superstar, and there's no denying it.
Us Doms, we know what we're doing. Somebody else who knows what they're doing is Randy Orton. 20 years. I couldn't believe that. Kanan, you were like, I don't know how I feel about his attire. But then I told Kanan, I was like, that's a callback to his debut attire. Mm-hmm. The blue and gold color scheme and everything like that.
Yep.
And heck, we were all I thought it was going to be maybe Rusev was going to be the guy to show up. You thought maybe Nick Aldis could have been it. I don't know who you thought.
I would have bet on Nick Aldis.
Yeah. Nick Aldis too. Well, here we get Joe Hendry. And nobody really expected that at all. Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a good way to highlight Randy and a good way to highlight Joe. At first, I was a little apprehensive because how they displayed him on commentary. Michael Cole was kind of, Randy Orton has all his experience and stuff like that. I'm like, well, you want to put your baby face, or you want to put the world champion, the TNA world champion, over as a credible opponent,
a credible threat. Yeah,
a credible threat. And so that was the only exception I really took from it. But ultimately, in the grand scheme of it all, it's like Randy gave him the respect at the end, even though he RKO'd him twice. And I thought that was a good way to get a rub, so to speak, from Randy, and kind of continued whatever Joe Henry's trajectory is in TNA, and maybe ultimately, I would imagine, in WWE.
And you know what? That match alone really shows that the business has changed.
Mm-hmm.
Now TNA and WWE are fully working with each other. When you have a TNA guy having a match on WrestleMania, like that's insane. 2-3 years ago, we would have been talking about this. It would have been nuts.
Oh my
We would have
God!
been calling each other crazy, but I think the business has completely changed, and I think it's changing for the better. I think Triple H and WWE, TKO are providing opportunities for everybody to share the spotlight, and I think it's really healthy. I think it's really good, and not only that, with the deal with Triple A in Mexico,
Yeah. Oh my God!
I think that's giving eyes on that brand too. That because a lot of people in the United States were not able to watch that, but some of us just regular WWE fans know nothing about it. But now they're bringing spotlight to those guys. People are looking those guys up and seeing some amazing talent out there as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, been a lot of fun to watch that whole thing come together, and to just to see Joe Hendry get that moment, that WrestleMania moment. I don't know, it's just on a human level, I really love it for him. It's just really cool that he got to go out there and experience that.
And he's somebody that's put the work in too. Like,
And the year he's having, it's
oh my
insane.
gosh,
I mean,
Unbelievable.
I like 2-3 weeks ago, I just seen him wrestle at a promotion in Canada called NCG. He had a really amazing match, and you're seeing him wrestle at your local indies. You're seeing him wrestle on TNA. Now you see him wrestle at WrestleMania. What else is this guy gonna do?
right? Yeah. And I interviewed him probably 3 or 4 months ago, and I was like, "Do you think you would be able to handle once maybe the allure of like the sing along and all that kind of stuff fades away? Like people get kind of tired of it." Or he's like, "Oh, I'll be able to do it. I know I will." He's like, "I'm confident I'll be able to change and make the
Adapt.
thing, so adapt." Mm-hmm.
He realizes how long this guy's been at the top of this business. He's been working for a long time, and I think he has so much confidence in himself, especially now. Like, what's to stop him from doing anything in this business?
Absolutely, yeah, 100%. So we had Lyra Valkyria supposed to tag with Bailey up against Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez. That clearly didn't happen. Bailey was attacked, and she could not compete. Instead, we get the man. Becky Lynch returns. Big time reaction for her, and her and Lyra Valkyria win the tag team championships. I was surprised by this. I had a suspicion that she was going to maybe turn on Lyra, but there's some interesting stuff going on with her being the mentor to the mentee from their NXT history with one another. What did you think of this, Canaan?
I thought it was really cool. So if you've watched, they had a match in NXT, and leading up to that match, they're both from Ireland. They're both from, I think, the same town too. Which
Wow,
is
really?
interesting.
Wow.
Don't quote me on that.
Okay,
but
I believe you.
Canaan Kristopher has stated this is fact.
I'm writing it. It's gonna go on SC Scoops.
But yeah, they showed that. So when she came out to tag with her, I thought it kind of threw back to when they had that match in NXT and how they told that story, and I kind of thought it was a full circle that a lot of people didn't realize. And with that being said, I don't think this tag team is going to last very long. I do think Becky is going to eventually turn on Lyra and join her husband with Paul Heyman. But
Yeah,
that's just my prediction. That's where I think this storyline's going to lead to.
that's a prediction, not a spoiler. That's what I would say. Okay, Hey, let's talk about it. The main event, John Cena defeating Cody Rhodes, and what was I think a lot of people expected Cena to win this, but not no fashion it happened to unfold, I suppose. No appearance of The Rock. Stone Cold, who did show up earlier in the evening to give the attendance figures. He did not become a factor. Who became a factor? Travis Scott. Marcus, you mentioned that there was a match of the night for you. What was this? Is this one, or was it a previous?
It was Dominic Mysterio getting the win. That was my match of the night. However, I did find this match to be really good and entertaining. Was it like a 5-star Matt classic? I don't think so, but I don't think it needed to be. It was the storytelling that we needed, and it was the wrap up that we needed to go where the direction they're clearly heading in with John Cena. I love the fact that John Cena came out, everything was black and white. He's just, I'm not giving any more to the fans is like what he's doing, even to the point where I was pointing out to Kane while we were watching, I was like, look, the ref is tanner right now than John Cena is. The ref for shoot had a better tan than John Cena. And it's like, I love the fact that he's just like, even during his press conference, it's like he was doing the Marshawn Lynch thing. Yeah. It's just like, just here because I have to be. And
I think you see that in the ring as well. Like, he was giving us some of John Cena's moves, but you didn't see the two flanks, shoulder bumps. I mean, you didn't see all of that. He did it, but he did it really slow. He didn't do it like the old John Cena. And he's not giving it. I think the story that he's telling us, he's not giving us the old John Cena. This is the new version of him. This is the old slowed down version that nobody wants to see. But this is the one that we need to see.
Right.
He nailed it. I loved what John Cena did out there. This was the outcome that they needed to get to. If you're going to put a 17th championship on John Cena, you don't want to do it at Backlash. You want to do it at WrestleMania. This was the moment. They took advantage of the moment, and I was really happy with how it turned out, man.
Well, what do you want to see moving forward with Cody Rhodes?
It's the chase. That's what wrestling is at its core, isn't it? It's like you've got your baby face trying to climb a mountain. And the big payoff is when he finally climbs the mountain. Cody Rhodes did it for a year with Roman Reigns, and it worked. It was great. So I love the idea. I love it. Put that belt on John Cena for as long as he wants to work, and let whenever John Cena decides, okay, it's time, put it back on Cody. He gets his win back.
He said it today, though. December, he's done. And I believe him.
I don't know what's real and what's fake, Dom.
He hasn't lied to us yet.
No, he hasn't. And that's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said on Pat McAfee today too. He hasn't. I've never lied. He was like, if the fans they hate me and I feel a certain way about him, he's like that. I made a promise that if I lose a step, I'm done. And he's like, and 2015 John Cena is different than 2025 John Cena. And he's like, I lost a step. He's like, I'm done. So there it is, guys.
All right, we'll see.
Canaan, talk a little bit about yourself and just plug anything too that if people want to interact or get figure you out a little bit.
Sure, yeah. I'm Canaan Kristopher. I'm a local indie wrestler out of Pittsburgh. I'm traveling. I'm trying to work my way up the ranks. Getting some looks from the NWA. Good friends with you guys, and I'm continuing working hard. I'd love for a follow. I'd love for you to check out some of my stuff. If you want to follow me, my Instagram is Canaan_Kristopher1. And I hope that you enjoy this journey.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, go out of your way to give Canaan a look. Really talented wrestler. You're what, 2 years in?
2 years in, yeah.
2 years in, and Canaan was instrumental in my training as a wrestler. We had some really great trainers there, but I want to tell kind of the full story behind it. I came into a class that had already been at it for I think 7 months by the time I joined, so I was way behind. Canaan was kind enough to stay behind at practices and help to fast track me there. And after him, I wound up training for just 8 months, and I debuted. And I owe a lot of that to Canaan. Really great mind and a great wrestler. So I appreciate you, my friend.
Appreciate you.
Real quick, Canaan, who did you really enjoy interacting with this weekend? whether it's a legend or a wrestler or anything like that? Name a few.
There's so many names, so many guys that I've interacted with. And thanks to you guys, meeting a lot of the guys that you work with, it I really appreciate it. Really liked Jake. He, he's a cool, laid back, quiet dude. And I just thought, he just reminded me a lot of some guys in my family, and I thought that was cool. I also really like Jim Duggan. He was he's a really funny guy, man. He like instantly just loved me right away. It was pretty awesome. And you introduced me to Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
And being a Pittsburgh boy growing up, everybody loves Kurt Angle.
Oh,
and I can't stress how nice that guy was. And it was really cool to interact and talk with him for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Well, at one point, we were all just walking down the street talking about who we felt was the best pound-for-pound wrestler in the history of professional wrestling, and both Dominic and I said Kurt Angle. It's hard to compare him to anybody. He's unique, talented. It's just, man, you want to talk about a guy who had everything. It was him.
Yeah, man, my goodness. It just picked it up right away from a sport, amateur wrestling, that's so regimented and, mentally where you have to be focused and you have to have almost like a schedule in your head of what to do. And he's able to go off script, quote unquote, and do this pro wrestling thing like that. Really impressive. Because not everybody can do it. Look at Gable Stevenson and all that stuff.
Yeah, it's not always easy to make the transition. You have to have there's the tangible stuff that Kurt Angle very clearly has, the physicality, the athleticism, but the intangibles, the things that you can't teach somebody, he's just one of those guys who was born with them.
Absolutely. Well, cool. This has been good. Marcus, anything else you want to say?
No, give Canaan a follow.
Yep.
For those of you who are listening on RVD's podcast, check out my podcast. I do a podcast with Jake Roberts, the Snake Pit with Jake Roberts. I do Everybody's Got a Pod with Ted DiBiase, and I do the Hacksaw Hour with Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Also, I'm a pro wrestler, so go out of your way to check me out. I'm at Real Marcus DeAngelo on Instagram and at Marcus P. DeAngelo on X.
And yes, if you're listening on the Snake Pit, check out RVD, One of a Kind with RVD. You can go to rvdtv.com and subscribe to that YouTube channel. And you'll get not only RVD on there, you'll get Fonzie when we do shows and stuff like that. Me and Fonzie, we go live try to aim every 2 weeks moving forward here. So be on the lookout for that. Also, go to fourhorsemannetwork.com. Check out Arn Anderson on there. But you can check out my show that I do, Straight Talk with the Boss, with Magnum TA and Greg Gagne. Those are always fun to have and chat about. We do that once a week. So fourhorsemannetwork.com. You can find that wherever you get your podcast. So One of a Kind with RVD and Four Horsemen Network. Type that in. You'll get all those shows. Also, I do a daily wrestling show Monday through Friday on ad-free shows. Rumor and Innuendo. Robert Karpolis and I, we break down the news for 30 minutes right around your lunchtime. So be sure to check that out on adfreeshows.com and wherever you get your podcasts. So that should do it. This was a really fun weekend, and I'm glad we got to share it with the listeners or watchers here.
Yeah, I know that a lot of you guys are probably looking forward to the next episode of One of a Kind or the Snake Pit, and we will be bringing them to you next week. This week, we just had to call an audible with all the travel and the talents that we work with. Jake is, I think, in the air right now flying, so just schedules don't always align. So I hope you guys enjoyed this, and looking forward to catching you next week.
Hey, and we'll see you next time here on One of a Kind. And what's the other show, Marcus?
And the Snake Pit.
Oh, hiss.